Welcome back, everybody. Let's get after it.
I have a theory that the Mandela effect is used to see how much of history can be altered in front of our eyes. Here's a prime example of one of that. There's this woman on TikTok who was going crazy because she swore the Fruit of the Loom had a cornucopia logo. And to the point that even Fruit of the Loom themselves put a timeline of all their logos and it never had a cornucopia. And this woman went hard. Her therapist told her, yo, you need to chill out. You need to just drop this. So she went through all of her old clothing, and lo and behold, she found a shirt with the Fruit of the Loom with the cornucopia logo on it. That shows me, like, yo, I think the Mandela effect is an operation that's running around right now to see how much of history can be altered right in front of our eyes without us noticing. And then they gaslight the public and be like, nope, this never happened. Damn, I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, bro, people are thinking about it very little, like, oh, it's the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstein Bears or Jiffy or Jif's peanut butter. No, it's much larger than that, guys. They're using this to see, oh, if we can get people to forget certain primary things about their childhood, what can we do with history?
I like that theory. I think that right there is a very logical way of looking at it. Now, as far as this lady and this Fruit of the Loom shirt that she found, we're going to hear more about her later in this video. She goes off the deep end with it, trying to make them admit that, you'll see, it's pretty good.
So this creator has turned a Mandela effect into a money-making opportunity. Check this out.
I officially have government documentation that Fruit of the Loom is lying about never being associated with the cornucopia. That we should first start off with this Frank West album, Fruit of the Loom, which was made in the late 1970s and was a clear spin-off of Fruit of the Loom. I don't know how to credit a Redditor, but this one deserves an award because he went so far down the rabbit hole, he ended up reaching out to the son of the artist who created the art for the album cover. The son responded, making it very clear that Fruit of the Loom was in fact inspired by Fruit of the Loom and the cornucopia was part of its logo. Redditor even brought receipts and took a screenshot of his email conversation. The part I'm most excited about, this is an official government document for the Fruit of the Loom trademark, and if you look at the bottom, it said baskets of fruit, containers of fruit, cornucopia, horn of plenty. And I'm not arguing that there's no room for discussion about when and how this logo was used, but it's clearly dishonest for Fruit of the Loom to make us believe we're crazy for assuming that the cornucopia was ever associated with their logo. It still makes absolutely no sense to me how each one of us have a vivid memory of our childhood asking our mom what's in the Fruit of the Loom logo, and that's how we learned what a cornucopia was. In an attempt to back Fruit of the Loom into a trademark corner, I'm now selling these sweatshirts, which means I'm about to be sued for every penny I'm worth, but they'll have to admit the cornucopia is a part of their logo, or I will become a trillionaire. Either way, it's a win-win for me.
Awesome sauce!
And that's how you do that. I think that idea is genius. That's, I guess we'll get an answer to that theory pretty soon. But either way, according to Tim Pool, if they've abandoned that logo and claim to have never used it, they can't sue her. It's abandoned property. She can pick it up and use it however she wishes. She could take the exact logo with the cornucopia and market it as a different brand, and legally I think she'd be all right. Hey, if you're enjoying this content, I make a new video just like this one every single day. Even going to post one on Christmas Eve and Christmas. Be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back to join me.
Monstrosity is staring me in the face like, why is that covered in snow? I look into Ireland and some other areas around it, Iceland. Ireland gets snow only once a year, one day a year. So I keep digging a little bit deeper, and I finally get underneath this cloud cover here, and a few images pop up. And I say, oh, images, what are they? Oh, this is what you got. Which I'm sure that looks familiar to you, right? Looks just like the pictures they give us of Mars. So I'm just kind of creeping around here and definitely noticing the same kind of undulation changes and same kind of rock, same kind of dirt. Only thing that's missing is that nice little red tint that they pay somebody $150,000 a year to put on there. But those mountains, those rocks, definitely exactly like we see on Mars. So I said, I wonder what they're doing out here. What is all this equipment for? Sure it can't be NASA, right? Whose orange Hummer is this? Okay, that looks like a NASA symbol. Well, let's dig a little further because I can't really see anything on here other than certainly looks like a NASA symbol. And I can't read that, tried. So this one here said, roving the Arctic. So what is that? That doesn't make any sense. Hop in here. See if we can find anything. Again, same kind of mountains. That looks like the same kind of water I've seen before that I thought was water on Mars. Who knows? Zoom in, what's that? Oh, nothing. Just looked like it was funny. So I'll keep kind of going through here and see if it... What the... Yeah. So, I think I found out where Mars is, guys. It's just about 1,000 miles north of me. Not quite the distance that NASA says, but I can't find anybody who's in charge of this. They must be hiding behind these rocks. Oh no, there they are out in front of everybody, standing there. Lovely. Clown number 1, clown number 2, and clown number 3. Yeah, this is very empty here. Oh, there's one of those ATVs. All right, now we're on something. Oh, I got another truck. Oh yeah, it says NASA. What's that say? Mars Project?
And this right here is exactly why when Neil deGrasse Tyson says we have video footage of our globe Earth spinning in space, from space, end of discussion. It doesn't solve anything for anyone. I'm not trying to bring up the flat earth argument here. If you've been caught faking space photos so many times, why would anyone believe you that your video footage is legitimate? And we've all seen the photos that are supposedly of Mars that people are finding the exact same photo on Earth, and it's clearly just color graded Earth. And now we've got proof that they're out there with the equipment taking these photos.
All right, here is another interview with Neil Armstrong. And right after I show you this quick piece, I'll immediately share a few more statements made by other astronauts who shared what they could or couldn't see while in outer space.
Mr. Armstrong, I do realize that when you were on the moon, you had very little time for gazing upwards. But could you tell us something about what the sky actually looks like from the moon? The sun, the earth, the stars, if any, and so on?
The sky is a deep black when viewed from the moon, as it is when viewed from cislunar space, the space between the Earth and the moon. The Earth is the only visible object other than the sun that can be seen, although there have been some reports of seeing planets. I myself did not see planets from the surface, but I suspect they might be visible.
Have you ever looked away from Earth into the black void?
Because you can see, because you can see the stars.
Oh yeah.
You know, and pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
The sky is a deep black when viewed from the moon, as it is when viewed from cislunar space, the space between the Earth and the moon.
Space, and you're on the sun side of the orbit. The sunlight washes out all the starlight, so you can't see any stars, just like here on Earth.
There's all the stars there, and the cool thing is about it, you can see it during the day.
Yeah, you can, and there's more than stars. You can see planets. You can see moons.
You see the gas Magellan clouds of the
you see
galaxy.
The Magellan.
Pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
Then when you look out into deep space away from the sun, it's the darkest black you can imagine.
So this black space you're looking at on your screen right now could or couldn't be what you see when viewing outer space from outer space. I guess you have to go to outer space or walk on the moon to confirm this truth for yourself.
It sounds like NASA needs to get their story straight. If we're going to believe them, which way is it? Can you see stars from the moon or can you not see stars from the moon? This is part 1 of a 2-part video. I just wanted to stop right there and make a little comment on that. This is, the contradictions coming out of NASA and stuff are getting to the point of being ridiculous.
Then I found out about the Van Allen radiation belt. Here's what a NASA engineer has to say about the Van Allen radiation belt.
We are headed 3,600 miles above Earth, 15 times higher from the planet than the International Space Station. As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
This radiation belt was present for the Apollo missions, so how did they manage to make it through? Let's ask Apollo astronaut Alan Bean.
Any ill effects from the Van Allen radiation belt?
No. Now, I'm not sure we went far enough out to encounter the Van Allen radiation belt. Maybe we did.
Beginning at an altitude of 1,000 miles and extending an additional 25,000 miles, lay lethal bands of radiation called the Van Allen radiation belts. Every space mission in history with humans on board, from both the United States and Soviet Union, from the first in 1961 to the present, has been well below this deadly radiation field. Mercury, Gemini, Soyuz, Skylab, the Space Shuttle, all maintained altitudes well below 1,000 miles. All except Apollo.
I don't know the distance to the Van Allen radiation belt.
The belts are 1,000 miles to 25,000 miles above the Earth.
Then we went right out through them.
No effects on your cells?
We didn't even know it. I don't think anybody, well, maybe somebody said you went through the radiation belt, but we didn't feel it inside, and we didn't get any, added radiation.
So you see, Team Apollo didn't know about this deadly radiation belt that would have killed them, so they weren't affected by it.
How does an astronaut who supposedly went through this radiation belt not even know about where it's located, whether or not he traveled through it, and claims to have not even been told about it until after the trip? He said, we might have been told you went through the radiation belt. So none of that adds up.
This is a conspiracy theory. I'm going to admit that straight up. But at this point, I am convinced the Democratic Party does not want to win the 2024 presidential election. Not because they're losers, but because in some cases, losing is actually winning. Okay, so at this point, they've already canceled primary elections in 4 states: Tennessee, North Carolina, Massachusetts, and Florida. So not only are they deliberately disenfranchising their voters, but their anointed candidate, Joe Biden, has the lowest approval rating of pretty much any candidate in modern history. It's hard to make the case that this is a winning formula. Now the question is, why wouldn't they want to win? How does that make any sense? Well, the most important thing that we have to understand is that the Democratic Party is not a public service organization. It is, first and foremost, a private corporation. And the job of any corporation, as we know, is to make money. But it's hard for them to make money when they govern because, and this is the huge conundrum for the Democratic Party always, is that part of their party platform, in theory, is supposed to be anti-corporate. Now, don't get me wrong, the Republican Party also only cares about money, but they can do so more honestly because that is their party ethos. Cut taxes, deregulate, become a billionaire. That's the American dream. And if you can't achieve it, it's got nothing to do with systemic injustice. It's 100% your fault. Now, back to the money part. It just so happens that Trump is a fundraising machine for the Democrats. Nobody ever talks about this, but just look at how much money the Democrats raised in 2020 versus 2016, nearly triple, and look at Republicans, pretty much the same. And of course, who is about to be president if Joe loses? Hence, Joe Biden for president. Take it or leave it, but don't care. They say losing, in the case of the Democratic Party, can actually mean winning.
This is an interesting theory, but I don't think that it's all there is to it. I think that the jig is up on the Democratic Party. I think America's waking up to their lies, to their manipulations, and realizing that there is no difference between a Democrat and Republican. We have a uniparty that has weaseled their way into power. Honestly, I think they're just overplaying their hand. I think they're dwindling away, and they're grasping at straws, desperately trying to maintain power. And most of the Republican Party is helping them.
Places in America that the government doesn't want you knowing about. This is the Mickelson Safeguard Complex in North Dakota. This place was originally created in 1975 as a way to deter missiles from the Russians. But here's the weird part. This site cost $6 billion to make. Mysteriously, the site was only operational for a single day. It opened on October 1st, 1975, and then closed down the next day on October 2nd, 1975. Really gonna try to tell me that the government dropped $6 billion on this place just to keep it operational for less than 24 hours? But for real, just look at this place. Like, are you serious? Many people have theorized that this could be a possible headquarters for the Illuminati, given its extremely close resemblance to the pyramid that's commonly associated with them. Also guys, when I was doing research on this place, I clicked on their website, and what came up I can't show on TikTok, but go look it up for yourselves, it'll creep you out.
I did go look for myself, and I couldn't find anything. And it says right on the website that it's an unofficial website. There's hardly anything on there. You can go poke around if you want, but there's nothing there.
Have you heard of the Russian scientist who injected himself with a 3.5 million year old bacteria?
For fun? For science. Oh, okay.
So this Russian scientist named Dr. Rothstock, digging in the permafrost in Siberia, they discovered this bacteria that was so far down, it was still living. But they tested this bacteria on mice, plants, and the mice and plants lived way longer, and the crops didn't die as fast when it was cold outside. They're calling it the elixir of life. They're saying that this thing could contribute to people, animals, and plants all living longer than they should. There's a town pretty close to where they found this bacteria. The people live way longer than all the other people in the region. So he was basically like, I want to try it on myself. And he said he hadn't had a cold or flu in 2 years since injecting himself. It got me thinking, in the Bible times, how they lived 900.
Nuts.
You wonder if like that is a
Could you imagine?
bacteria from the first days of creation.
You taking that bacteria?
I would take it. No.
There is no way that I would inject myself with that stuff. First of all, 2 years is not a long enough time to determine if that stuff's any benefit or if it's damaging the guy. And mice and plants are very, very different from us. Just because they're living longer don't mean it's not going to give us cancer.
Into the frame came something else. It flew into the frame like this, and it shot a beam of light at the warhead, which is represented by my thumb here. Now, remember, all this stuff is flying at several thousand miles an hour. So this thing fires a beam of light at the warhead, hits it, and then this thing flies up like this. Meanwhile, we're all going like this, fires another beam of light, goes around like this, we're going like this, fires another beam of light, goes down like this, fires another beam of light, and then flies out the way it came in. And the warhead tumbles out of space. Now, I saw that. I don't give a goddamn what anybody else says about it. I saw that on film. Phil Klass can kiss my ass. He wasn't there. I was. Now, when the lights came on, Major Mansman turned around and looked at me and said, "Were you guys screwing around up there?" And I said, "No, sir." And he said, "What was that?" And I said, "It looks to me like we got a UFO."
If anyone can let me know down in the comments if they know if that video's been debunked or not, I would appreciate it. I think it's one of the most fascinating UFO videos I've ever seen. To have a guy sitting there explaining what's going on and then to see the video footage to back up what he's claiming, pretty cool. And it looked like legit footage, so I guess I'm going to buy that one.
This guy, he found some treasure in 1988. He figured out where this shipwreck was, and the ship was called the Ship of Gold. Wow. They went there, and they found a lot of gold. And he sold the gold and made $52 million. Whoa! And then here comes the U.S. government. We're going to
tax you.
They sent him an audit, and they said, we just need to know how much gold you had. And he said, I don't have to tell you. And they're like, all right, you're going to jail.
No way!
The sentence was 2 years, contingent on him telling them how much gold he had, and 2, where's the shipwreck?
Why?
After the 2 years, he goes, I don't remember.
Yeah. Oh, forgot.
And they're like, okay.
Don't say it.
I mean, he's been there for 7 years now.
Bro.
Yeah. And so they're holding him indefinitely.
They don't have his money though, right?
I don't know.
Say you're bitter as shit.
But I think it makes more sense that there's something on there that the U.S. really wants. And he's just like, it would be too dangerous if the government had their hands on it. So I will stay in prison.
Noble.
It's KFC's recipe.
I will stay in prison?
No.
Oh.
The recipe that's on the boat. That's what was on the boat.
I really doubt that the guy found some secret weapon or something. He's trying to be like a superhero and keep the government's hands off of it. People will do crazy, crazy things for large sums of money. Even sit in prison for a few years, because whenever he gets out, he knows he's set for life.
The Great Pyramid is literally impossible. It's something that doesn't make any sense. It certainly doesn't make sense as the tomb of a megalomaniac pharaoh, which is what we're told it is. It incorporates pi, which again is supposed to have been discovered by the Greeks. It incorporates the dimensions of the Earth on a particular scale. There's a lot about the Great Pyramid which suggests that it was intended to transmit information to the future. And that's one of the reasons why it's so big and so enormous, and why we keep on finding new chambers and passageways inside the Great Pyramid. There's a thing called Scan Pyramids, which is now going on, which is using the latest tech, and they've identified a second Grand Gallery above the Grand Gallery. The Grand Gallery is one of the wonderful features of the Great Pyramid. It's 30 feet high, 120 feet long, rising up through the center of the pyramid. But now we know there's a second one above it that hasn't been explored yet, and that's a result of scanned pyramids. There's corridors and passageways that we didn't know were there. So the Great Pyramid is gradually, bit by bit, revealing its secrets, and it's almost as though it was waiting for a time when human beings were ready.
I'm still convinced that those pyramids have something to do with sound frequency, that's why they were built. I don't know if it was, and I believe that they were built using sound frequency to move all these heavy stones. I think that they just had a different type of technology back then. Our civilization has technology equal to theirs, but just in a different direction. We went towards electricity and stuff, and I think that they mess with sound. And I think that those pyramids are not what they claim them to be. I think there's some sort of generator or sound frequency generator for some purpose that we are just not aware of.
Watch this video with me. We put a microphone in the deepest man-made hole we've ever dug, and this is the sounds we heard. Check this out.
The Soviet Union drilled a hole more than 12 kilometers deep in Siberia, which shares borders with Norway and Finland. The project to drill into the Earth's surface began in the 1970s, when Soviet scientists wanted to learn more about the Earth's crust. Over 2 decades, they managed to dig more than 7.5 miles down into the Earth. The drill broke through into a cavity, and the scientists lowered some equipment to see what was down there. An extremely heat-tolerant microphone, along with other sensory equipment, were lowered into the well. The temperature was about 1,100 degrees centigrade, about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. But the real shocker was the disturbing sound that was recorded. They only got about 17 seconds of audio before the microphone melted, but it was 17 horrifying seconds of the screams of the damned. The screams of the hell.
I know probably all of you have already seen this clip and heard that audio. I just wanted to throw it in there because to me, it's always just sounded like a melting microphone. If you ever have a damaged microphone, I don't know how much audio recording you've done. I mess around with music a lot and recording and making my own stuff. So I've had damaged microphones that whenever you plug them into your audio interface actually make sounds that are similar to that. And I'm convinced that's just a melting microphone and that we're hearing the diaphragm melt.
There's so much proof that we didn't go to the moon. It just keeps going on and on and on. Neil Armstrong, on the 25th anniversary, it was the first time he had spoken publicly since the initial press conference 25 years earlier after the alleged event. It appeared to me that he was holding back tears. There was one particular part of the speech when he said the following: "Perhaps someday you'll be able to remove one of truth's protective layers." Seems to me he was trying to say something there. About 1,000 miles above the Earth lays a lethal band of radiation called the Van Allen radiation belt. Well, this field of radiation is 25,000 miles thick.
No human being could survive going through that.
That is correct. He did not go through the Van Allen radiation belt.
Especially in a spacecraft that looks like it was made out of sticks and Legos and wrapped in aluminum foil.
I think Post Malone knows something that we don't.
According to the CIA, the total amount of fraud money is $80 trillion.
And cash was $2 trillion.
2 trillion.
So 1.9 trillion is actual cash, and all the rest of it is just bull. Doesn't exist. There's not a vault you can go in like a fucking guy.
We're at war with a country, and then they have the best hackers, or whatever. This is all hypothetical, but you go to swipe your card and it doesn't work, and then everybody in America goes to swipe their card
and it doesn't
work.
Whenever the credit cards fail, whenever your cards fail, whenever your banks fail, and you can't use your fucking card anymore, you have 3 days to get out of where you are, because that's when they're coming for you. That's the big move. That's checkmate right there. And they think they have you. But move out to the country, get your scraps, stand up for yourself, build a tower, build a long road to where you can see them coming. Don't give up. America.
Old Posty is pretty based. I never seen him talk like that. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. I'd take his warning seriously. There's a reason I live in the country and not in a big city. Folks are going to be running out of food very quickly in those situations and turning you into dinner.
On a winter morning in 1478, on the outskirts of Florence, Italy, the young 26-year-old artist, Leonardo da Vinci, officially returned after disappearing from the world for more than 2 years. To this day, no historian can determine where he went and what he did during those 2 years. All that is known is that upon his return, he had become a completely different person with profound knowledge in all fields and behavior, like an eccentric. According to records, after returning, Da Vinci switched to a completely vegetarian diet and began practicing an extremely unusual sleep technique called polyphasic sleep. Da Vinci believed that the human habit of sleeping 8 hours at night was archaic and would waste at least 25 years of life. His new sleep method was a good way to increase work productivity and stimulate the brain's state of enlightenment. Somehow, Da Vinci discovered a strange property in human sleep. That is, when sleep is divided into more phases, the necessary sleep time will be shortened. After several months of experimenting on himself, he decided to divide his sleep into 6 naps, each lasting exactly 20 minutes and spaced evenly every 4 hours. This method reduced his total sleep time by 5 times compared to the average person. According to calculations, thanks to this sleep technique, by the time he died at the age of 67, the total amount of work that the genius Da Vinci completed was equivalent to a person living and working continuously for over 108 years.
All right. I don't know how he did that. I've actually tried to do a split sleep cycle before, where you go to sleep for about 3 or 4 hours, wake up for a few hours, and then go back to sleep for 2 or 3 more. And you get less sleep, but you're supposed to feel more well-rested. I had exactly the opposite experience. Now I go to bed around 9 and get up sometime between 3 and 5. How do you make yourself go to sleep for 20 minutes? Because it would take me at least twice that to fall asleep. I feel like you'd spend more time trying to fall asleep if you're someone that, like me, that just doesn't lay down and pass right out. You're going to have more trouble falling asleep and spend more time doing that than you are actually sleeping. Also curious as to what he used for an alarm to wake him up in 20 minutes.
One of the strangest forests called the Devil's Tramping Ground in North Carolina. It is just this bizarre circle in the woods where no plants will grow and no animals will even cross its path. It's a 40-foot clearing, which is pretty big, and it's said to be where the devil comes to stomp and dance every night. Others say he paces the circle at night as he contemplates what havoc to wreak next. Red eyes are constantly seen glowing here. People put belongings in that circle in the evening. Next day, they've been thrown out.
All right, this is an ignorantly simple theory on this, but it looks like it's a popular area, and all the video he keeps showing of it, you can see that people are building campfires, and you're going to stand around your campfire, you're going to set up tents around your campfire. It's probably just constantly trampled so nothing can grow there.
Is Earth actually a prison of the universe? This crazy theory may make you change your entire perspective on life. It suggests that the Earth is a prison and is actually a published hypothesis by an American ecologist named Ellis Silver. He argues that humans' true origin is not Earth, and that we are actually aliens to this planet. We come from somewhere outside of space, and have been exiled to Earth as a punishment for something we had done thousands of years ago. To support his thesis, Silver cites scientific evidence that shows that although we are the most advanced and intelligent species currently on the planet, we are not very compatible with the environment. The evidence he used included the fact that we can be easily harmed by sunlight, our inability to easily digest the food around us if it is not cooked, and the fact that we have a higher rate of chronic diseases than other species on our planet. Others have argued against this by saying that the diet we are on today is not what it was many years ago, and that chronic diseases are all a result of the toxic food industry. But that's for another video. The hypothesis stands that we were put on this planet as a result of the wrongdoings of our ancestors, and that as a species we have not changed. As we are beginning to see history repeat itself with the violent nature we portray today.
I'm going to agree with the naysayers and say it's because of our diet. That's why we have all this disease and stuff. Our diet, our bad healthcare system where they keep feeding us full of pills and stuff instead of trying to address the actual issues. That's all that's going on there. It is an interesting theory, though.
Alien news. Something's coming. Something's coming, friend.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
It's not just Santa Claus.
All right.
There's something coming December 23rd.
Okay. Oh.
And we got to think about what we're all doing.
Okay.
So you hear that there's a solar flare coming?
Is there?
Yeah. It hit and it did nothing.
Okay.
There's waves of solar flares coming, but it's not that.
It's not that.
But there was a big solar flare.
But
did you hear that?
But
did you hear this? You see this?
Did I see this?
You look at this?
I didn't see this.
Yeah,
I didn't hear about this.
It's big as sun fart.
I saw there was like a big hole.
That's
a big,
what it
a big
is.
Black part.
Yeah, it was like a butthole opened up and it shot a fart
Mhm.
of solar energy at us.
And did nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
But they thought it might.
Okay, but
we still don't know. So there's a post that came up with this. Now, since deleted, very suspicious. It says, I'm an amateur ham radio operator here in northern Wyoming. And I play around in the over 1 gigahertz range. And I came across some weird beeps and squelches around the 1.685 gigahertz range. A few days of monitoring, I got this female voice from this weird channel. It sounds like a temporary number station or something, but they said it was like the description of it's a bunch of numbers being read in a woman's voice.
Oh, like 9,
7,
4,
14,
9,
14,
3,
And so
4,
people
16,
wondering-
15, 23, 42.
Exactly. It's like, now, can you make it out? Right? A lot of people wondering what it is. So you see this series of these numbers, right? So the numbers were like 61, 6E, 20, 6E, 6S. This guy said it's hexadecimal code. And so here's what he learned. He was breaking it down. So the numbers, he says, really make sense. Because it says Earth time, break, 1800, UTC 7, break, December 23rd, 2023, break, latitude 47, break, longitude negative 111, break, you know us, break, we know you, break.
Where is that location?
I don't know.
You didn't look it up?
No, of course not. And here's the completed message. We are like you. We have lived among you. Embrace us, for we mean no harm. We are like you, but with fur. We are like you, but canines also. We love you. Please love us. So, space dogs are coming.
Attack of the Puppy People. I thought this one was funny, and I threw it in there because today is the 23rd, and it'd be fun to watch something, a prediction fail in real time. So I thought I'd throw this in here for y'all. That's the end of this video. I'm going to go ahead and call it right here. I hope you guys like these clips. I tried to look at some stuff that's very different than what we usually dive into on this channel. I'm kind of getting tired of seeing the same thing over and over, and I would expect that you guys will start to get tired of that too. So I'm trying to find some new theories and stuff. Also want to say, and I'll put it on the bottom of the screen here, if you'd like to message me directly, you can do so at bandlyonline.com. Let's see if I moved my hand in the right direction or if I was supposed to go this way. But I will be here for tomorrow for Christmas Eve and even Christmas. I will have a video up. Watch it at your leisure. Hope you all have a wonderful Christmas weekend. If you don't make it back until Tuesday, I may see you Tuesday, or I'll be here tomorrow. See you then.